Good morning, dear students. We are at Salika, our training restaurant, and you could see a display of spoon, fork and knife laid on the table, which in technical term we call it as flatware and cutleries. Okay, so the word cutlery means an equipment which is used to cut, so that's why we term knife as cutlery and we term spoon and fork as flatware. So you could see there are different types of spoon, fork and knife displayed on the table, and also the sizes of the flatware and the cutlery is different. So what are we going to do today or right now is to check each equipment displayed on the table along with the purpose and possibly with the standard sizes. Now, why aren't we emphasizing on the size? Because every organization will have their own size, they will have their own style of cutleries, they will have their own design of cutleries. With this, we move on to the flatware. We take the spoon in the first place, so going from right to left or left to right. Okay, so we'll move from left to right. You could see the smallest of the spoons which are displayed on the table. So the extreme left side, you can see two different types of spoon. So there is a change in the design. The texture and the appearance is also very different. So I have displayed two different types of spoon. One is an SS. Now SS stands for stainless steel. And then we have a silver cutlery. So silver cutlery, why? Because during the old days we had the entire set of flatware and cutleries displayed on the table which was made up of silver. But these days we have silver plated flatwares and cutlery. So we could see two different types of spoon. The size is almost same, but the appearance is different, the texture is different. So one is stainless steel SS and one is a silver coated. So students, we are moving into the flatware section, where towards the extreme left hand side of the table we have two different types of spoons. So we have EPSS and EPNS. Now EPSS stands for electroplated stainless steel and EPNS stands for electroplated nickel silver. Right? So these are two different types of cutlery. So over a period of time, hotels have started using it. Now, of recently, most of the hotel goes for EPSS because of ease of maintenance, and this is much more durable and it could be used for a long period of time. So the spoon which I am trying to explain you towards the extreme left, it is a demi-tasse spoon, which is DEMITASSE. Demi-tasse. Demi means a half, small. Okay, so it is used or it is offered along with your coffee cup and saucer, especially for a kind of coffee which is called as espresso. 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 So the first spoon that we are covering here is a demi-tasse spoon. Moving next, we have a teaspoon. So again, we have two categories of spoon. One is EPNS and we have EPSS. Now, teaspoons are offered along with a teacup and saucer. Whenever a guest goes to a hotel, he offers or he calls for a tea. So spoon is offered along with the cup and saucer so that the guest, he can help himself with the sugar and he can stir the sugar in the cup. Next, we have a EPSS spoon. The purpose of the spoon, the name of the spoon is a soup spoon. It is offered whenever a guest is asking or called for a soup. Whenever the guest has to eat a soup, so we offer a soup spoon to the guest. Next, we have a EPNS spoon, which is an all-purpose spoon. Most of the hotels use a jargon called as EP spoon. Okay, so the full form of the spoon is all-purpose spoon. moving further, we have a same type of spoon but in two different categories. One is EPNS and one is EPSS. The purpose of the spoon, it is called as a parfait spoon. It is PARFAIT. It is called as a parfait spoon with two categories. One is EPNS and EPSS. The spoon is tall because most of the time we serve desserts, and also a kind of dessert which is called as a sundae, which is served on a tall glass. So it is the purpose of eating the dessert in a tall glass. That is why we have the spoon which is tall. And towards the end we have the flatware which is called as a service spoon. So service spoon is used in the restaurants and in the hotel to serve a dish or to serve food onto a guest plate, especially if it is a kind of English service or a silver service. So students, moving further, we will be moving into the second category which is called as cutlery. So cutlery is because it is used for cutting. So the first knife, we start from the extreme left to the right. So the first knife that you see towards the extreme left hand side, it is called as a side knife. Now it's called as a side knife. It is also called as a BNB knife. The other name for the side knife is a BNB knife. BNB stands for bread and butter knife. Now it is kept on top of a side plate. Now why is it called as a side plate or a side knife? Is because the guest use the knife for having side dish, which we explain it in the further slides or in the further video. So just for now, this is called as a side knife. So we have two categories. One is EPSS and we have EPNS. The next knife is called as a fish knife. Now you can see the shape of the knife towards the edge or towards the end of the knife is a little different. You have a C shape. The main purpose of offering a fish knife to a guest is when we have to offer a whole fish, so that the guest can help to take off the flesh from the bone. So that is the main purpose of the fish knife. And moving to the next knife, we have a steak knife. STEAK, steak knife. The main purpose of offering a steak knife in a restaurant or in a hotel is when we offer steak. Steak is a kind of cut or a kind of cut of meat, especially from beef or veal, or it could be any tough meat that is offered to the guest. So we require the sharpest knife in the restaurant. That's the only purpose we offer a steak knife to the guest. And then we have a knife which is displayed on the table any given point of time, which is called as a AP knife. AP knife stands for all-purpose knife. So all-purpose knife is displayed on the table along with the all-purpose spoon and the fork, which also acts like a part of your table presentation as in when the guest enters the restaurant and are seated on the table. So we have AP knife, all-purpose knife. Okay, the next one is called as a cheese knife. It is offered along with a platter of cheese. And again, there are two categories. One is EPSS and we have EPNS. So this knife is called as a cheese knife. I want you to remember the shapes of the knife. Once you understand why the knives are actually offered or placed on the table. And the main purpose of the two prongs towards the end of the knife is to hold the cheese and offer it on the, or maybe to cut, to hold the cheese, to place it on the plate and to cut the cheese. Moving further, we have a very big knife which is placed on the table. Now it is called as a carving knife. So carving, when we have a whole meat or maybe a game or maybe a bird, for example a duck, which is roasted and displayed on a platter. So we carve the meat in front of the guest. So for that purpose we require this type of knife or this kind of knife, which is called as a carving knife. Along with the carving knife, we have a pair of fork which is offered or which is used along with the carving knife. It's called as a carving fork. So a set of carving knife and fork is offered to the guest, or maybe it is used by the chef to do the carving. And to do the carving in front of the guest.
Carver.
So especially we have a designation of a chef called as carver or a trosher who does the carving in front of the guest. Okay, the next category of flatware which we have displayed on the table, we have the forks. So again, moving from the extreme left to the right side, we have the first category of the fork, which is called as the fruit fork. So here we have an EPNS fork. The next category of fork, we have a pastry fork. Do remember the shape of the fork. It is a fork which is offered along with the pastry so that you can cut the pastries and you can use the same fork for eating. And the third fork which is displayed on the table, it's called as a fish fork. So the fish knife along with the fish fork is offered whenever a whole fish is actually offered or displayed or maybe served to the guest. And then we have the AP fork, all-purpose fork. So a set of all-purpose knife, spoon and fork is displayed on the table. So an all-purpose fork is offered at any given point of time to the guest. And the last flatware is called as a service fork. So a service spoon along with the service fork is used by the server to serve food from the platter to the plate.